Hello drama lovers, welcome back to my channel. Breaking news. When the news broke, the world stopped breathing. An accident. A hospital. One man standing in the rain, trembling, drenched, but refusing to leave. That man was Xiao Zhan, and the person he was waiting for was Yubo. What happened in those haunting hours revealed not just pain but the kind of love and loyalty that lives quietly in the spaces between fame and fear. This is their story. It began like any ordinary evening for Yubo, a late-night motorcycle rehearsal, cameras off, streets glistening from the drizzle that had just passed. But in seconds, everything shattered. The roar of the engine turned into the scream of brakes. Lights blurred. Then silence. When news reached Xiao Zhan, he didn't think. He ran. Through corridors, through the rain, past the flash of paparazzi lenses and the weight of countless eyes. Fans recall seeing him arrive at the hospital in a gray hoodie, face hidden, soaked to the bone. No words. Just fear. The media called it the night of rain. For Xiao Zhan, it became the longest night of his life. Inside, the hospital was a storm of its own whispers, medical staff rushing, fans praying outside the glass doors. Yubo had been admitted to the emergency room. No one knew how bad it was. Hours turned into eternity. But what the cameras didn't catch was Xiao Zhan sitting alone in a corner of the hallway, hands clenched, staring at the floor. Those who were there said he didn't move for hours. He barely blinked. The only sound was the faint tapping of his fingers, a rhythm he used to hum when he and Yubo rehearsed together during the Untamed days. It was as if he was trying to call him back with music. When morning finally came, and word spread that Yubo was stable but unconscious, Xiao Zhan refused to leave. He stayed night after night, bringing coffee for the nurses, blankets for the fans waiting outside, and quiet prayers for his friend. People always saw Xiao Zhan as the composed one, graceful, polite, untouchable. But that week, his mask broke. A fan who volunteered at the hospital later shared, "He looked lost, like someone who'd forgotten how to breathe without Yubo around." That's when the Fandom's Xiaofei and Yu Wang came together for the first time in years. They stopped fighting online. They sent food to each other. They donated blood in Yubo's name. And perhaps, in that unity, they mirrored what Xiao Zhan himself was feeling, that even in pain, love can rebuild what fame had broken. But this wasn't just about friendship. It was about something deeper, something neither of them had ever put into words. Because while Xiao Zhan sat by that hospital window, watching the first sunrise after the storm, he whispered only 4 words: "Please wake up, Yubo." And that was the beginning of everything that followed. For the next 7 days, the world held its breath. Yubo remained unconscious, his name trending across every platform from Weibo to Twitter. Millions of fans refreshed their screens every second, searching for updates. But Xiao Zhan disappeared from public view entirely. He cancelled schedules. He stopped posting. No one knew where he was until a blurred photo surfaced. Xiao Zhan sitting beside Yubo's hospital bed, head resting on folded arms, eyes red. It wasn't taken by the media. It was captured quietly by a nurse who couldn't believe the tenderness she was witnessing. That photo broke the internet. It wasn't the image of 2 celebrities. It was the image of 2 souls, exhausted, bound by something beyond spotlight or scripts. People remembered their laughter during the Untamed filming, the long rehearsals, the playful teasing, the trust built through endless retakes. Xiao Zhan once said in an interview, "Yubo doesn't say much, but when he looks at you, you know exactly what he means." That unspoken language that's what carried him through the waiting. And when Yubo finally opened his eyes, doctors say the first name he murmured was Zhang Ji. Just 2 syllables, but they broke Xiao Zhan completely. Witnesses say he smiled, cried, and laughed all at once. The relief in that moment could be felt by every fan who had prayed through the night. The entertainment industry can be cruel, full of noise, misunderstanding, and judgment. But in that small hospital room, there was none of that. Just 2 young men who had built a friendship under blinding lights, now finding each other again in the dark. After Yubo regained consciousness, Xiao Zhan stayed a few more days. He read to him scripts, fan letters, even lines from the Untamed they used to mess up on set. And Yubo listened, eyes closed, smiling faintly. Sometimes, that's all healing needs, a familiar voice reminding you that the world is still kind. But even as Yubo recovered, something in Xiao Zhan had changed. He became quieter, softer. In one interview months later, when asked about fear, he simply said, "The scariest moment in my life was realizing how fragile time is." That line trended for days. When Yubo finally walked out of the hospital, sunlight poured across the courtyard, the same courtyard where Xiao Zhan had once stood crying in the rain. This time, he smiled. And standing beside him was Xiao Zhan, wearing the same gray hoodie, but now, with eyes full of light. Fans called it the return of the twin stars. Their reunion video, a short clip of Yubo thanking everyone and Xiao Zhan patting his shoulder, gathered over 100 million views within 24 hours. Comments flooded the internet. "This is what real friendship looks like. They went through fire and came back stronger." But beyond the headlines, their story became something deeper, a symbol of resilience. Xiao Zhan had endured one of the hardest public backlashes in modern Chinese entertainment, and yet, he never stopped caring for others. That night in the hospital proved it. Fame fades, but compassion doesn't. Yubo, on the other hand, had always been the quiet fighter. His recovery journey inspired millions to find strength in silence. Together, they reminded fans that humanity still lives in the heart of fame. Months later, when they appeared together at an award show, walking side by side, bowing together, the crowd erupted. The host asked what their friendship meant to them.